stuck in government projects. I feel like I am in Uglyville, and people are telling me that I need a wife, when in reality, it's more like a prison. And outside of this prison, there's people of all types, not just lowlifes, he, she's, she-males, you know. I feel like I'm in a prison, and that there's, how would you say it, like there's there's no females in prison, you know. There's no females in prison. But I feel like I'm in a prison and people are like telling me, you should get with that faggot. You should get with that homosexual, You should do that. I'm not gonna do that. I feel like I said, I feel like I'm in a prison, and that outside of this prison, there's all types of people, all types of females, not she-males, females, transgenders. Like, I'm not gonna fucking marry that thing. I'm not gonna fucking, like, go ahead, become like who in life would tell you that not all females are females? Who's gonna tell you that? Who's gonna tell you that? You know what? That one is a she-male, half male, half female. No one's gonna tell you that, but you can tell. No one talks about it, but you can tell. It's like being a vegetarian, and and having that mentality that a dog is a demon. It's like being a sober person and acknowledging the fact that a dog is a demon. No one's gonna say it. No one's gonna admit it. Everybody acts stupid. But a vegetarian, a Christian, a sober person has to admit it. And if they don't, it's because they're fucking lying. And it's the same. It's the same with the she-males. No one's gonna tell you it's a she-male. No one's gonna tell you that this life is a spiritual life, that there's all types of things that exist. No one's gonna say that. But like I said, I feel like I'm in a prison and that I'm surrounded by a certain administration, an administration that does not have the capacity to bring on set a female, at least not right now. But that's the way I feel. Like I'm in a government project, surrounded by an administration. You could see the people, sometimes when I'm on the street, I could see the different type of people, the different administrations. When I got here to Durango, there is different administrations in the city, and you could see them. And if I go to the centro, I could run into them. I run into the different administrations, different sets of people, different people that talk differently. You could tell by the way they talk. You get a small comment. Hey, hi, how are you doing? Is what I always do. I walk up to a couple of people and I say, hi, how are you doing? Hey, guys, how are you doing? Open up a conversation. And regardless of what I say, small comments, how are you doing? This and this and that. Regardless of what I say or the small comments that they say, because it's really not that much, you're able to analyze. I'm able to analyze what is it that they said? Where is it that they come from? Without even like I'm like not exactly sure. Like I know where you come from. You come from Chicago and this now. But more or less a little sensation. And that little sensation, that little experience, it adds up, you know? It adds up as the years, and I want to say years and decades pass. It adds up as experience. And so I don't know, like I said, there's more to life than a bunch of ignorant, low lives. And I want to say it again. There's more to life than a bunch of ignorant, aggressive, low lives.